Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX and I'm Vaishali Kohli. Now, Sydney's Bondi Beach was rocked by a terror attack by two gunmen as they attacked several Jewish people who had gathered to celebrate Hanukkah. At least 10 people were killed in the horrific attack with 11 others injured, including 2 police personnel. Several reports have confirmed that while one of the shooters was neutralized by a civilian, the other one was gravely injured and caught. It's time to welcome all my guests on the broadcast. I have with me Ambassador Suresh K. Goyal, who's a former diplomat. I have Major General Dr. J.K. Bansal, Senior Defense Expert. And I have Yossi Cooper-Vossa, Israeli Intelligence and Security Expert, joining me live from Tel Aviv. Now, I'll go to my guests in a bit, but viewers, meanwhile, the New South Wales Police held a press briefing to speak on the attack. Let's cut across.
I appreciate you all being here on a very distressing night in Sydney. At approximately 6:47 this evening, 2 individuals began firing on a crowded group of families on Bondi Beach at Archer Park. This cowardly act of terrifying violence is shocking and painful to see and represents some of our worst fears about terrorism in Sydney. I very sadly need to report that as of now, there are at least 12 individuals that have been killed. One of the offenders has also been killed and one is in custody. This attack was designed to target Sydney's Jewish community on the first day of Hanukkah. What should have been a night of peace and joy celebrated in that community with families and supporters has been shattered by this horrifying, evil attack. Commissioner Lanyon will speak about the investigation, the police response, as well as the designation of this attack as a terrorism event in Sydney. I can assure the community it will be met with a massive, comprehensive police and public order response. Our heart bleeds for Australia's Jewish community tonight. I can only imagine the pain that they're feeling right now to see their loved ones killed as they celebrate this ancient holiday. It's the responsibility of all Australians to wrap their arms around Australia's Jewish community and help them get through this incredibly difficult period. This is a massive, complex and just beginning investigation. It's just begun, and there are things that tonight we don't have the answers to. However, we do have answers to some crucial pieces of information for our wonderful city and our beautiful state. The first one is the outpouring of love and support from ordinary Australians for Australia's Jewish community is real. Secondly, today is another example of the enormous pressure and responsibility, the danger that New South Wales Police regularly face as part of their job. They do it without faltering. They didn't falter today. We need them. And thirdly, tonight saw extraordinary acts of personal courage and bravery from individuals in our community. And I think it's worth remembering that in all of this evil, in all of this sadness, there are still wonderful, brave Australians that are prepared to risk their lives to help a complete stranger. Mel?
Thank you, Premier. Good evening. Premier has outlined the brief circumstances this evening. I'll go through them again, then more than happy to take some questions. About 6:47 p.m. this evening, police started to receive a number of reports of shots fired at Archer Park at Bondi. Archer Park is a grassed area just north of the Bondi Pavilion. Police responded promptly. Unfortunately, at least 12 people are deceased at this time. 29 people have been transported to various hospitals around the Sydney area, including 2 police officers. The condition of those officers and the other transported are serious, but there is a range of conditions. Our thoughts, prayers and love go to all the families and all of those that were involved tonight. We know that there were many people there to celebrate a happy occasion, the celebration of Hanukkah, and there was well over 1,000 people there when this took place. As a result of the circumstances of the incident tonight, at 9:36 p.m. this evening, I declared this to be a terrorist incident. I have also authorised special powers under Section 5 and Section 6 to ensure that if there is a third offender, and we are currently investigating that at the moment, we will make sure that we prevent any further activity. Section 6 allows us to investigate today's incident. There is a massive police response, and I think as journalists you have seen how quickly and promptly the police responded. I'm incredibly proud of the professionalism of our police and emergency service responders. They have done a fantastic job. Unfortunately, it's only several years ago that Bondi occurred at Bondi Junction. We have learnt a lot from that, and tonight ambulance and police and other emergency responders acted promptly and professionally to do a great job there. We will have a significant investigation. Our Counter-Terrorism Command will lead this investigation with investigators from the State Crime Command. No stone will be left unturned. This type of disgraceful activity, this wanton use of violence, the taking of innocent lives is unacceptable to New South Wales. It's not our way of life. I've been very clear since I've been the Commissioner that as a police force, we won't stand for this type of violence. I'm personally offended. You have seen that the police have already taken prompt action. The Premier has mentioned one of the offenders is deceased, the second one is in serious condition at hospital. We will focus to ensure that there is no further threat to the public. Could I ask, but this is a time of calm. This is a time where I want to make sure that there is no retribution. The police are investigating thoroughly. We have acted promptly. We have taken decisive action. Could I just ask for calm in the community? Allow the police to do our job. We will work closely with community, and I'll continue to provide updates about the investigation as they go on. Thank you. I'll hand over to the Minister and then happy to take questions. Sorry.
Do we have an age range of the victims? Obviously, it's early days, but of those deceased?
No, very early, sorry. I don't have those details at the moment. As you can imagine, there has been a fair dislocation. The ambulance service responded brilliantly. They've had to convey people right around the city to numerous hospitals, so at this stage we don't have those details.
Commissioner, there's 12 people...
Sorry, can I just ask one at a time, sorry?
Commissioner, do you have any intelligence about the two shooters?
We're working through that at the moment. Obviously part of the declaration is because I have information about the deceased shooter. It's not something I'm prepared to give at the moment. It will be part of the investigation, but we will work tirelessly through our Counter-Terrorism Command to make sure we investigate all of this.
And viewers, before I go across to my guests, I'd like to say that our hearts go out to the families of every victim in this horrendous terror attack in Australia. Our prayers are with the family of the bereaved. I'm going across now to Ambassador Suresh K. Goyal, who is a former diplomat. Ambassador Goyal, welcome to the broadcast. And I want to just begin with your opening comments. This is a very, very disturbing terror attack that's happened today, and NewsX has been tracking it since morning. What would you like to say?
Very, very initial remark, very shocking, distressful, really. Any such kind of attack leaves you speechless, simply because you think that after the last one, people will learn to live with each other together and realize that this kind of act does not serve any purpose. It does not serve any political purpose of the people. It does not serve any other purpose, really, a limited purpose even. Therefore, very distressful and very shocking. Next thing that I would like to say is that earlier, we were thinking that these kind of acts of extremism and terrorism were impacting on select areas of countries, regions and people. Now we realize that it has become actually a very, 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 very worldwide phenomenon, and practically no country can be untouched by it anymore. Australia, I don't think that I had heard of this kind of an incident earlier. This is the first time that I'm hearing of a terrorist activity in Australia. It is so insulated really from the other world events. And therefore, all the more reason to now for Australian law authorities to be careful in all areas to make sure that this kind of activities, which are well networked very often, are avoided and are handled in the manner without retribution but effectively. Yes, Vaishali.
I also want to go across now to Major General Dr. J.K. Bansal, who's a senior defense expert. Now, Major General Bansal, to begin with, now from a defense perspective, I want to ask you, how does an incident like this change the profile of Australia's iconic public places? Because we all, as we all know, the Bondi Beach is frequented by tourists. It's a very, very crowded area. And Australia also has very strict gun laws. Do you think there has been a certain security lapse?
Definitely, there had been security lapse because it's an isolated continent itself where so far there is not such of the threat was there. But you know, now the terrorism all over the world, and there had been tension earlier also the Bondi area, that is between a specific community and those people. So it was thought of earlier that in the Western world only, say Europe or USA are the not safe, but Australia was considered safe. With this attack, this has really exposed that yes, Australia is also very vulnerable, such a particular place. But you know, at such a Bondi Beach is a very large area. I had been there, so it is very difficult to secure. But there should
So
be
I'll
some
have to
intelligence.
interrupt you because Prime Minister Narendra Modi has just put out a post and he's mentioned that I strongly condemn the ghastly terror attack carried out today at the Bondi Beach in Australia, targeting people celebrating the first day of the Jewish festival of Hanukkah. On behalf of the people of India, I extend my sincere condolences to the families who lost their loved ones. We stand in solidarity with the people of Australia in this hour of grief. India has zero tolerance towards terrorism and supports the fight against all forms and manifestations of terror. Major General J.K. Bansal, I'd like you to please complete your thought.
Now, the thing is that there is a need now for the more intelligence gathering. And, you know, Australia is the part of Five Eyes countries, which has got the USA, UK, Canada, Australia. So they have to gather the intelligence, and then it really shaken the confidence of the people. And the Australia is a peace-loving country. So it will have the very, what I feel, because the anti-Jews sentiments has been there in Australia also. And that may be the reason. Of course, their authority has not confirmed so far any angle on that side. But there is a great possibility that about 10 people are killed. And otherwise, there is no other motive seems to be over there. Because as such, Australia is a peaceful country. But this could be specifically an attack on Jews is to be considered that yes, this terrorist group like this Hezbollah, Houthi or Hamas, they would have given effect of course, nobody is coming up directly or very clearly, but after investigation, this may be proved that it was the ghastly attack of the terrorist group, and maybe these terrorist organizations may be behind it. Back to you, sir.
All right. Now, before I go across to my next guest, I'd just like to apprise our viewers that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has put out a post and he's mentioned that he condemns the attack that has happened in Australia. And he's also mentioned that India has a zero tolerance policy towards terrorism. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has mentioned that he condemns the ghastly terrorist attack which has been carried out today at the Bondi Beach in Australia, targeting people celebrating the first day of the Jewish festival of Hanukkah. And on behalf of the people of India, he says, I offer my condolences to the families of the bereaved. I now have Yossi Kopwasa, who's an Israeli intelligence and security expert. He's joining me live from Tel Aviv. Yossi, I want to begin by asking you, do you think that the existing security measures were appropriate for a location like Bondi, or does Bondi Beach Pardon me, or does this incident expose a gap in current risk assessments?
Well, definitely looking at the results, the security was inadequate. And it was a big event, and it was published in advance, so everybody that wanted to carry out terror attack against it knew where and how to get ready in order to carry it out. So I think that there should have been much more security, and it took like 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes before security was taking care of the terrorists. The first responder was a civilian that managed to disarm one of the terrorists. So it's definitely not a good sign. And it's worrying because terrorism against Jews in Australia is not a new phenomenon. In the last 2 years, we have seen several attempts to set synagogues on fire and take all kinds of actions of terrorism against the Jewish community in Australia. They were very worried and frightened, and they were definitely demanding better security from the government, which didn't do what was necessary, unfortunately. And this is a real concern when we look forward. I hope this is going to wake them up. But it's not going to, it shouldn't wake up not only the Australian government, it should wake up many other governments who allow anti-Semitism to go uncontrolled. And we see these slogans of globalizing the Intifada everywhere. The Australian government, by the way, realized that many of those terror attacks against Jews in Australia were performed by groups that were organized by the Iranian Revolutionary Guards, and they declared the Revolutionary Guards a terror organization and banned its activities in Australia. I don't know if this last one is also coming from the Iranians through directly or through some proxies. Makes sense, but we have to wait and see.
I'd request all my guests to stay on with me, and I'll just address this breaking news coming in and I'll come back to you. Now, in more breaking inputs, viewers, high-level alert has been issued in India regarding Jewish festivals. We're learning that terror groups may plan major attacks in India on the Jewish festival and Jewish establishments. Delhi, Bangalore and Mumbai are on the target. From December 14, 8-day Jewish festival Hanukkah will begin. Now, Ambassador Suresh K. Goyal, my question really to you is, because there was a very interesting thing that happened. The Australian Prime Minister a few days ago had mentioned that he was expecting a few attacks and they beefed up security in Australia, and in spite of which this attack has taken place. And I just also want to tell our viewers about the Australian Security Intelligence Organization, the Director General of which, Mike Burgess, had said that tensions in the Middle East, including a conflict between Israel and Hamas that began on October 7, was a contributing factor to raising the threat level. Now, Ambassador Suresh K. Goyal, I'd like your comments on this.
I think essentially I do agree with the conclusion that the developments in the Middle East have elevated the levels of threat to the Jewish community worldwide, and also contributed to really more such attacks against the community in the different areas. It is interesting. I must say that I had not seen those remarks by Prime Minister Albanese, that they had information about possibilities of such attacks against the Jewish community in Australia. And it is, of course, equally more frightening, I would say, and shocking that despite having these earlier indications of such attacks, it happened in Bondi, what happened today. What I can say really here is that, yes, there is a great need for, in view of the Israeli festivals coming up, Hanukkah in particular, that there is a need for such, for more caution, alert, and to take greater precautions in terms of the public order. I'm just trying to recall, I used to be in New York when Hanukkah was celebrated, and New York has a far greater Jewish community than in India, in Delhi, or even in Australia. And the festival was celebrated with such great gusto and charm. What I'm thinking, New York in a crowded city like this, what it is going to be like. Therefore, all I can really say is that care needs to be taken, precaution must be taken, law and order authorities must investigate every information it comes to them. Equally, it is important to ensure that it does not create disturbances and disruptions in the life of other peace-loving citizens in the city, whether it's Sydney or Delhi, Mumbai, wherever. Because when the disruptions take place, it also leads to certain kind of course there is understanding, but it leads to inconveniences, definitely. And if those kind of inconveniences, if they can be avoided to the extent possible, that will be useful. That will reduce the rancor of such kind of incidents. That's all I can say, really. But care must be taken, and it is a good thing that alert has been issued so that these kind of incidents can be avoided to the best of the possibilities.
Major General Dr. J.K. Bansal, I'll just come to you in a minute, but before that, I have a specific question for Yossi Kuposa, who's an Israeli intelligence and security expert. Now, Yossi, do you think that this type of attack was consistent with well-known threat models Australian agencies have been monitoring, or does it represent a deviation?
No, I think this is one of the possible scenarios that should have been looked at by the Australian security organizations, and it's not a surprise. It's shooting from afar. It's something we saw when President Trump was targeted, and it's not something new. It's a well-known modus operandi, and should have been taken into account by the Australian security organizations.
All right. Now, Major General J.K. Bansal, my question to you is that, does this incident suggest that Australia really needs to think about how it protects its so-called quote-unquote soft targets?
Definitely. As a matter of fact, there had been such kind of attack in Bondi Beach earlier also. In view of that, they could have tightened the security, the entrance of people could have been screened. And now in the scenario where this anti-Jews sentiments are there world over amongst the certain communities, so this was during this festival, they should have taken care. And as Prime Minister Albanese has already warned that yes, such kind of indications were there. So this is the kind of failure of the security and intelligence agencies. And very rightly, our country in India, we have alerted during this festival so that no such event, such kind of bad incidents occurs. But this terrorism is really a very as a great menace world over, which has to be taken very seriously, and the people who are involved in this, they should be dealt very firmly. And if now I feel they will be able to track, because one of the this terrorist or the person was killed and one has been apprehended by the police. So I think it will not take much time, and there will not be any difficulty tracking and finding out who are behind it, and the person or the organization, whosoever is behind it, the world community should come and must have a harshest punishment, and that country or that organization is to be taken to the task. Of course, now it is the responsibility of the Australian citizen or Australian government to find out and take the necessary action. But it opens the eyes of the other country also. In that view, of course, India has taken care, alerted. I feel the world over, whether it is European countries or American countries or anywhere, wherever the Jews are living or staying, their security need to be tightened. And I will go a little ahead that they can also celebrate this. They should celebrate this festival in a very low profile and in a very secure place where such kind of incident does not occur, because it should, the lesson should be learned, and then this kind of incidents has to be avoided, because the terrorist organization, the people, and specifically this, as I told, Houthi, Hamas, Hezbollah, these are the terrorist organizations, and they can do anything world over, and this jihadi attitude and their mindset is very dangerous to the community, to the society, and to the civilized world. So this need to be taken very seriously, and actually India has taken precautions and alert has been sounded. At the same time, all the ambassadors world over of Israel must send a message to their community that they must celebrate festival in a secure place, very, very secure place, and a low profile, so that such kind of event is not repeated. Back to you.
All right, and request all my guests to stay on with me, and I have more breaking news coming in. Now, viewers, after PM Narendra Modi putting out a post condemning the attack in Australia, we now have External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, who's condemned the attack on Hanukkah celebrations in Bondi Beach. He took to X to write, "Our thoughts are with the victims and their families." And now, of course, I'd like to go across to my guests. I'd like to go across to Ambassador Suresh K. Goyal. Now, Ambassador Goyal, there have been various things that we've been discussing since morning on NewsX. I had an Australian journalist with me in the studio, and he mentioned that there should be more stringent laws when it comes to immigration in Australia. What would you like to say on that point?
Very difficult question, really. And I'm going to basically go here in this case by my own convictions, as we have, as I progressed over 40 years in my diplomatic life. See, it's very easy to overreact also in these cases and begin to blame immigrants from whichever country and of any particular religion for what happens in the country. Please do remember that Australia itself is a country of the immigrants, that the people who came from other nations and they settled down here made the nation to be what it is, just like the USA is. And immigrants have made the country, they have become part of the country. I think the need is to be sure and to make sure that the people in the country, they follow the laws of the country, whether they are visitors there, tourists, or there are professionals who are working for the economy of Australia, or those who are studying there. Australia, incidentally, is a destination for a large number of Indians to study in the universities there. And there is a large number of Indians also studying, working there in Australia. And there is a good number who visit there for tourism purposes. They go there for medical reasons. Not to overreact, take care of all the law and order situations, strict intelligence, effective intelligence, but to ensure that it does not change into or transform into paranoia. Paranoia can be the worst enemy for any stable, peaceful and happy society. And the need of the hour is to maintain the peace and happiness, particularly the time of festival. Christmas is about to come. Then there is New Year. Australia is home to all these festivals. So avoid paranoia, become effective watchers, keep peace, and make sure that those who perpetrated the crime, they are not able to repeat this kind of heinous act again. But not to really mix it up with the immigration.
That is an excellent point you're making, Ambassador Goyal, and there's a reason I asked you that question. All immigrants should not bear the brunt of what a few people are doing. I'd request all my guests to stay on with me, and I'll just address this with my viewers and come back to you. Now, on December 14, 2025, a mass shooting occurred at Sydney's iconic Bondi Beach during a community Hanukkah celebration organized by Shabbat of Bondi. Marking the first night of the Jewish festival, the event was held near the Bondi Beach Park playground. The Hanukkah event began at the northern end of Bondi Beach near the playground and Campbell Parade at around 5 p.m. Gunshots were heard reportedly around 6:45 p.m. Eyewitnesses describe hearing dozens of shots, up to 50 reported by some. Two gunmen dressed in black opened fire from a bridge or elevated area overlooking a parking lot and the event area. People scattered in panic, running over barricades away from the attack. As chaos ensued, screams and sirens were heard. Shortly after 6:45 p.m., emergency services were called. More than 40 ambulance resources, including helicopters, were deployed. Paramedics treated victims on site for gunshot wounds. New South Wales Police then issued an initial alert on social media describing a developing incident and urging the public to avoid the area and take shelter. During the attack, one gunman was killed, believed in a shootout with the police. Videos broke out of a civilian tackling the second gunman and disarming him. In an update by the police, the second alleged shooter was taken into custody in critical condition. Among the injured were two police officers. Police have confirmed that there is no ongoing threat. An exclusion zone was established around Campbell Parade and the beach. At least 16 to 20 people were rushed to hospitals across Sydney. 12 people, including one gunman, were killed in the attack in Sydney, with around 11 to 18 people injured. Reports have declared the attack as a terror incident against the Jewish community. And now, of course, I have my guests back with me. I'd like to go across to Major General Dr. J.K. Bansal. Now, Major General Bansal, my question to you is that, Australia has seen several violent attacks in recent months, some of which have been designated and motivated by extremism. What would you like to say on that?
Australia is a very big continent, very big country. There maybe population is not that big, small population. So once there had been such kind of threat, the security agencies, intelligence agencies of Australia could have tightened. And when we talk about the immigration, it is not the immigration in general from other population, but it is a immigration of particular population, particular region, particular place. And very clearly it is there that now it has been said by Australian government also that it is a terrorist attack, and who can be other than these organizations, terror organizations, which I have been naming again and again, that they are very directly involved in this, and it cannot be possible without the support of the local people over there of that community. Not that somebody has come from outside and has done it. So the local community associated with these kind of people should be taken into account, and must be up to the extent of if such kind of incidents are happening. I think there should be extradition of these kind of people who are creating any law and order and the disturbing the peace and causing the terror. I mean, in the peaceful countries or peaceful people, the handful of the people they feel that yes, by doing such kind of thing, they can just avenge what is happening in Gaza or what is happening in Middle East, and this is their mindset. Otherwise, by doing these kind of things, how can it be, they cannot achieve anything, but it is because of the mindset that they are disturbing. And I tell you one thing more, that even the demonstration worldwide against the Jews, against the attack on the Gaza, Israel was very firm, and whatever they wanted to do, they did it. So Israel did not deter from whatever was correct. And to finish the Hamas, they are still making efforts. So now it is just for the innocent people, that kind of this terrorism, they are killing innocent persons. And they have killed in Israel, they are killing world over. What is the fault of these Jews who were there in Australia and they were killed, those innocent people were killed? So I think this needs to be thought of world over, and world should come together, and rather than supporting, even I feel that kind of demonstration by these against the Jews should be stopped world over by the government, and the people who are coming or who are demonstrating or who are having sentiments against Jews should be dealt with very sternly, and then this kind of incidents can be stopped. that yes, the few people who has done, and if there is anything, the link is connected by the resident of Australia, they should be immediately given the harsh punishment in that country, and the people associated should be extradited or should be that they should be sent back to their countries. That is the only thing. Once it will happen, the people will realize, these kind of people, that they cannot just get away by doing the terrorists or supporting the terrorism. Because I am very sure that without the support of the local immigrant over there, the terrorists cannot come just like that they came by air or they came by any sea route, because Australia is a very secluded country and very well surrounded by water all over. There is no border, there is nothing that one can sneak in or can cross the border. So this is definitely with the support of the local anti-Jews sentiment people. Everybody knows, I don't want to name, but definitely it is the work of those people. Back to you.
Ambassador Suresh K. Goyal, Major General Dr. J.K. Bansal and Yossi Kupwasa, who's joined me from Tel Aviv. Thank you so much today for your time on